Okay, hi, I'm Greg, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick rundown of what I'm using for my solar setup. I have a grizzly bear, and I just added a 100-watt solar cell or solar panel to my setup. I have a battery. Now, I didn't get the battery set up from RTTC, but I added my own battery. They made it very easy. If you get one without it, it'll have the battery cables there, so it'll be ready to go. Okay. So here is my solar panel. It's a 100-watt solar panel. I'll add the link to this posting. I got it on Amazon. I bought the set for $170, I believe. Came with one panel. Came with two 20-foot lengths of cable. Came with a charge controller, which I actually replaced. I didn't like the way that it worked, so I got a different one. So I'll show you that when I get to it. Okay, here's my battery. I didn't get the battery from Rustic Trails. When I bought my Grizzly, it had the cables there to connect the battery, but it was not included with my package or with my Grizzly. So anyway, I've added this deep cycle battery. Now, I don't think this is one of those AGM types that they talk about. It's a marine battery, so it may or may not be the best one, but it's a heavy-duty deep cycle. It says that it's got 23 amp average for 200 minutes, so it means that it can run 23 amps for up to 200 minutes straight. So I'll probably only be running a fraction of that, so it should last much longer. But I've got my red power and my ground, or my black wire here. These two black ones are my solar panel. So the solar panel is connected into the charge controller, and then the charge controller is connected to the battery. So I'll show you the battery, or the charge controller inside. Okay, here's the inside of our Grizzly. We love it. It's so roomy and comfortable. We're very happy with it. And I've got all my connections down here in the cabinet. So there's the converter that they put in, and the regular power. And then over here is my charge controller and my watt meter that I've got. I've got a watt meter on both the solar panel and the battery, as you saw before. So the watt meter shows the solar panel's connected. It's charging the battery. Right now it's at 14.4 watts, which I understand that's just for charging. Once I turn off the solar panel, it should be somewhere in the 12 to 13 volt range. And I said watts, but it's volts. And then if it ever gets down below, I believe 12.3, that's when I want to make sure I recharge it, because then it may be below my 50% capacity. So I've got my solar panel connected, and right now it's doing somewhere around 18 volts, and it's adding around 40 watts to the battery. So it's slowly charging it up to full. And then when I want to use it, all I have to do, right now I've got plugged into shore power. I'm going to disconnect this, and I'm going to connect it to the battery. And see how my lights came right back on. So I've got two lights there, or a single light with two light bulbs. I've got another light back here, and my fan. And I can work it on high. And then if I come back around to my battery meter, it shows that right now I'm currently using 53 watts. So not a lot of power requirements. When I add my laptop to it, I've got an inverter in the camper. I'll charge my laptop, and my phone's off of it as well during the day or during the evening when needed. And at night we'll run the fan. Also, one last thing, I made my own stand for this. I just have a standard solar panel. I didn't go with the suitcases; they're a little more expensive. I'm trying to go on the cheap right now. I may end up putting flexible panels on the top of my camper eventually. But I made a PVC holder or stand, and it's pretty simple. There's PVC that goes all the way around the frame. I supported it in the middle, and then I made these legs here. Nothing's glued, so everything pivots. So if you look, I've got 3 sections of leg. Depending on what time of day it is, if the sun's directly overhead, I can take out a section of legs and make it more steep angle. So right now I've got a pretty upright, I guess. It seems to be working pretty well, so I may not even need those legs, so we'll see. But that's all I did. I just used 3/4 inch PVC, some adapters and pieces and whatnot, and just made a nice little rectangle zip tied it to the frame of the solar panel, and then everything folds up pretty nicely. I just throw it on top of the bed in the Grizzly.